Hello everyone, this is Bentley, and you can probably just barely see it in the tank behind me, but we'll add some extra shots here in a second. This was the Plants for Profits tank, and you can probably already tell it's missing something, so let's flash back to last week. Well, 2.5 weeks ago. Here you can see the Plant for Profit tank, really overgrown. This was in the little kind of mini fish room tour that I put out. And I finally got some time off. So here we are, and you can see it's basically empty. Now there's a few things that still have to be done in this tank before I replant it. But while I was pulling it apart, which took me about 3 hours, and it really took a while to sort through things, look through the plants, figure stuff out. And you'll see, like, the intakes are clogged up with leftover stuff. That's the last bit of cleaning I have to do. And then I can get to replanting. But while I was taking it apart, I was sitting there trying to decide what I wanted to do. And that's why I kind of wanted to tell this story. It ties in a little bit to Plants for Profit. As I was going through, I found plants that I liked, but they grow super fast, and with my current work schedule, it was one of those things where it's like, can I maintain this enough? Do I really want to grow this plant some more? Am I done with it? Have I gotten my fill of this plant? Now, if it weren't for the human malware lockdowns, I would probably be out more actively selling plants here and there at like swap meets and club meetings, and my thought process might be completely different. But instead, I had to appeal to not only myself, but what's going on currently. And that's where I started going through and I found certain plants and I just went, oh, I love this plant. I remember, and I started thinking back to a swap meet. What would I keep if I had a swap meet? And that answer was different than the plants I found myself paying the most attention to as I was pulling out tons and tons and tons of overgrown stuff. And that led me to realize something. When I go to those swap meets or those small plant sales, not club auctions, but things where I get to interact with a person and advise them on the plants they're buying while they're buying them, there were certain plants that I'd maybe be done with and I wanted to try something different, and I would be selling those. But then there would be other plants where I felt a certain pride in that plant. Or there was something about that plant that made it special to me. And those plants, when I would sell them to someone, often were overlooked. And I would direct them to those plants because I had a passionate enjoyment of that plant myself. And I wanted them to understand why I thought that plant was so great. And that's when it hit me. Part of Plants for Profit isn't just growing the things that you think are going to sell well. It's also growing something that you really enjoy. Because if you're growing a bunch of plants just for the purposes of money and you don't enjoy those plants, maybe they grow too fast, they don't grow fast enough, they're a leaf texture you don't like, or they look too much like this other plant over here. When you go to talk to somebody and be like, oh, here's this plant, here's that plant, you're not going to be enthusiastic about it. Your customers feel that. So when somebody comes to your home or you go to an event where you're selling plants, they will be able to tell between the plants that you like and the plants you're just selling. The plants that you like will sell almost purely off of the fact that you enjoy them. Let me give you a great example. One of the few plants I'm keeping is Hygrophila green olive. Why? It's a Hygrophila. They grow fast, right? Not this one. It grows kind of slower, even in CO2. Does it need a lot of light? No. But the big thing isn't like it gets huge like other Hygrophilas. The leaves slowly will get bigger. And when they do, they have this really cool marbly pattern to them. But when they're small, they are this beautiful dark olive green. Most of our aquatic plants are this bright and vibrant green, and it's beautiful, don't get me wrong. But when you have that dark green to contrast against them, it amplifies each color even more. It brings out something different. And there is something inherently just eye-catching, and it just makes it pop when you see tones of green that are so vastly different that they make each other look better. That's one of the reasons why I looked at that plant and I kept finding myself like, oh, this is a perfect little starter. This is a perfect little starter. Oh, look at this. This is a great starter right here too. And I found myself finding more and more and more of them because I love that little plant. That's my lesson in plans for profit. Now, this isn't entirely a plans for profit. This is a rebuild. And because of the pandemic and my work schedule, right now I don't have time to truly do plans for profit at its most optimal. Frankly, I can't. I'm not supposed to have people come over to my home. I'm not supposed to go to social gatherings, all these things in my state. So I get to examine this tank and take it in a different direction. I get to make this a tank full of plants I enjoy. And yeah, those can be sold for profit too. A couple of them are very, very popular plants. So with that being said, let's get this thing replanted, walk you through the changes, and explain why I made those decisions. So it's been a little over a day. It actually took me a lot longer to get this tank done than I thought. So in the previous footage, you saw some of the fish were still in the tank. Those have been removed. I added an entire bag of Brightwell's Rio Oscuro F. And this is one of the larger bags, just as a heads up. Thanks to the guys over at Brightwell, they actually provided the substrate to me. So there's a lot of stuff that, as you guys will recall, that Brightwell sent me to test, to work with. Substrate's one of those things. So this tank previously was a 50-50 mix of Fluval Stratum and Echo Complete. And so now the top layer is all the Rio Oscuro. And the main reason why I did this, other than, yes, I have some lying around, but I also have some Stratum and some other stuff lying around, is that unlike some of the other ones, the Rio Oscuro does not leach a lot of ammonia. In fact, from what I've been told from the guys at Brightwell, it leaches 0. And I used this over in the Centoniensis tank as well. And that tank was only ready up for about a week before I put fish in it. And I read no ammonia the whole time. So I would have to believe that that is exactly the case. Now, when I put the stuff in here, yeah, it clouded stuff up. The usual things that are going to happen with a substrate. I needed several hours for it to clear, and then I started working in it. Again, big thanks to the guys at Brightwell for providing this. I'm not paid to say hello. I just get to play with their products and give my honest feedback. But I guess technically this is sponsored? I don't know. We're going to cut to footage of the tank. So there's no fish. We're going to let this tank run for probably a week or two, let some stuff start settling back in. And then I'm going to put a special fish in here. And maybe you guys can guess down in the comments. Let me know in the comments what fish you think I'm going to put in this tank. It's nothing new. It's something that I already have here in the fish room. So just keep that in mind. So let's talk about what we did here. I happened to come across a sale, 50% off rock at Aquarium Co-op. So I bought a bunch of rock, including the small rock there, to make this kind of lazy aquascape. Let's call it that. And then everything else that's in here was already in this tank. So the big things that we'll talk about, there's tons of uncommon and rare crypts. Crypt Nurii Rose and Maiden, Jacobsoni Pink, Ponderidifolia Assay Highlands, which is extremely rare, Crypt Hooteroi. I'm trying to remember if I forgot anything else. I don't think so. I think that's all the major crypts. And then There's also several other cool plants in here. Hygrophila species green olive, bunches of needle leaf java fern, a Madagascar lace plant, which is off in the corner that I'm going to let grow out on its own. There's some Bacopa colorata in here as well. It's a plant that I like and want to keep. It's just in here temporary to regrow. I don't know if I'm going to keep it in here. It depends on how things shape up in the tank, but most of this is staying the entire time. And then finally, kind of a centerpiece plant is going to be a Limnophila species called Chinensis, which is also kind of called Limnophila curly. It's really cool. It has this distinct slight curl where it basically does one curl across the leaf underwater. It's just a really neat long leaf Limnophila species that has a very cool leaf texture that I really enjoy. So with that being said, this is the new tank. Hopefully you're enjoying some of the footage that's going here, some B-roll showing you off what I've done. I certainly do not consider myself an aquascaper, but I try to put something together that would look nice, was also simple, something that anyone could achieve. This isn't extremely highly planted, like, I mean, some people will say, like, that's a lot of plants, but, like, compared to, say, what your green aqua guys, your 88 guys are doing, where there's, like, seemingly no open space, it's only plants. We're not going for that. This tank does have CO2, and I want the stuff to grow in slowly but surely, but the goal is to leave a good amount of swim space for my fish. I want these fish to enjoy this space. This is no longer a true plants for profit tank. Now, granted, there's a big space up front. Let's talk about that. And there's a few spaces in the back that I'm going to do some work on. I still have some extra rocks left over, the small ones, like you see kind of toward the front of the aquascape. And I have a lot of more java fern and probably some Anubias that will get glued onto those. I literally don't have super glue right now, and I haven't had the time up through Thanksgiving, which I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving in the United States for those that celebrated it. At time of filming, it was literally like Thanksgiving Day while I was filming this, so lots of stuff is closed. But I basically have to go out and get some super glue, glue some extra stuff to rocks, and then those are going into some of the spaces. I also have some really nice pieces of cholla wood that Nick from Shrimpy Business sent me as kind of a thank you. I think maybe it's just because he pitied me for not using his built-in discount code on my order, but like I said before, I wanted to just give the guy the extra money. I don't care. But he sent me 4 really nice pieces of cholla wood, and then I have this really big piece of my own that we're going to sit temporarily in this tank and let all that java fern grow in so that they can be used in a different tank later on. So that front space that's basically right behind my head is going to be used for a little while to house some stuff that's not going to stay in this tank long term. Long term, I really want that area to just fill in with crypts, let some of those rare and cool crypts fill in, take over that space, and leave lots of upper swim room for that special fish we're putting in this tank. So, with that being said, this has been a partial plants for profit. The big thing here is that each of the plants I kept because I personally just really love this plant. It's nothing new to me. It's nothing that, I guess in some cases there's some rare ones with the crypts, but for the most part, the main bulk of the plants are not super rare. A lot of them are uncommon, but you can still get them, right? It's not like I'm sitting here going like, oh yeah, here's that one crypt that's only been harvested once, and only 4 people in the United States have it. No. The closest I have to that is the Eponderditifolia SA Highlands, which while it is extremely uncommon, rare, you pick your choice here. Plenty of people have it. I got it from a friend, and there was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 people that had it in the Seattle area when I received mine. And it's propagated a few. I have a few little babies in there. Some that you might not even see in the footage, but they will grow out. And I think it's going to look really, really cool when this tank really kicks in and starts growing and getting robust. And that's what I'm looking forward to. And it might over time require some additional stuff to come into this tank. Anubias or something like that. Who knows? Boost, something cool to add to it. But honestly, I really like it the way it is. There's lots of swim space. There's this kind of rocky outcropping, but then open area, almost like the edge of a lake or a river, stream, whatever, like part of that. And then the open space. There you have the shallower plants. There's a few outcroppings of big plants that show up, but lots of little plants all tucked in all over the place. This is kind of the closest to like me trying to aquascape you're probably going to see for a long time. I'm not much of an aquascaper, but I love plants, and I do enjoy using a little bit of rock and a plant together to have a certain effect, which is what I went for with this. I wanted rock. I knew I wanted some rock in this tank, and when I went to co-op and they had 50% off, I was like, Sarah U. Stone's hard to say no to. I might have to go back and buy more, I won't lie. Anyway, I would really love to know down in the comments, one, what you think the fish is that's going into this tank. It certainly is special to me, but so are all my fish. Two, I would love to know if this was your tank and you had that open space, right? And there's some open space over back where the Madagascar lace is too, and some stuff like that. What would you put in those open spaces? Or maybe, what one plant would you make sure got into this tank? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a little like, maybe even share it. That helps the magical YouTube algorithms. It makes YouTube happy. Give it just YouTube, tickle that algorithm. Just, look good. Tickle you. If you don't like planet tanks, you can't stand that I'm gonna take my time before putting fish in this thing, and I didn't like put $7,000 worth of plants in this thing to make an ADA aquascape, you can hit the thumbs down twice. I'll understand. If you haven't previously subscribed to this channel, and you like content like this, you like learning about plants, you like learning about why certain plants are near and dear to a multiple-time master aquatic horticulturalist, consider subscribing. Maybe even ring that notification bell. That way you don't miss a single video. I have a live stream every Tuesday for so long as human malware is going on. And then I have videos every Saturday where we do a number of topics, from product reviews, learning about plants, learning about fish, pretty much anything in the aquarium hobby that fits within my scope and my realm. I try to share as much of my knowledge as possible so that I can help even expert users become even better. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and stay awesome. So we'll go to the little after video shout. I'm probably gonna make a change to membership, just as a heads up for the folks of you who are members who are watching. I think I'm just gonna simplify things. I think I made it too crazy. But I want to give a big shout out to the folks who have joined the Discord server. That's the main thing I want to talk to you, because it's been an absolute blast, especially during the holidays. Some folks have been sharing their tanks or like sharing what they're doing and some of their time off. And I really appreciated folks just sharing that and talking in the well wishes. I'm extremely thankful, as this is literally Thanksgiving night that I'm filming this. I'm extremely thankful for all of you wonderful people. Especially the members, because we're in the middle of human malware. There's no reason anybody should be spending any extra money, and yet some of you do. And I cannot say both how honoring and humbling that is to know that you guys appreciate what I do that much. I love interacting with you folks. You're all absolutely stellar. And for those of you that aren't members, I really appreciate you too. The best thing you can do for any YouTube channel, seriously, is interact with it, which is liking or commenting. You can even dislike. That's technically interacting. Sharing is huge. I mean, these are all the free ways you can help a YouTube channel grow, or they basically can make money by doing that too for the monetized channel, in the sense that it sees more people and thus more blah, all the YouTube dumb, right? But what I care about is you guys give me your time. The fact that you are willing to spend, in my case, often 20 plus minutes listening to me ramble on videos. I'm extremely thankful over that. I cannot wait to do more and more with you guys. And basically just spread more of the knowledge I have. I got a bunch of other stuff that I'm shooting during this short amount of time off that I have to get some stuff done. I really hope you guys enjoy what's going to come out, both this video and after it, because I'm excited to get it done while I have a little bit of extra time before I go back to the super grind at work. And most importantly, I hope you all had an opportunity to spend at least some time with your loved ones, whether that was digitally or in person. Human malware is really rough. That's why I didn't get to go see my family, which normally I'm with my family on Thanksgiving. And I miss them dearly. And I cannot wait for when these restrictions go away so that I can go see people like my cousins, my aunts, my mom, those kind of things. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. And stay awesome.